everyone. I thought I would do a quick tutorial again on how to draw some kind of iconography for your role-playing games. And I usually do kind of weapons and stuff, but this time I thought I'd do some kind of industrial post-apocalyptic or industrial building, we'll say, and you could do whatever you want with it after. You could make it look damaged or whatever. So I'm going to do something very basic. No reason why you don't do your own icons. It's pretty easy, and it's kind of a lot of fun. Maybe I'm just too weird. I like drawing kind of icons. But going to start with the rectangle tool, and I'm going to pick a rough shape of a building. I'm going to just keep it black for now because I want it to be a silhouette because it's nice and easy. I'm going to convert to curves. That means that I can go in and edit it, etc. But me being a lazy artist or whatever, I'm going to just make it a bit smaller for the moment. I'm going to try and do as little work as possible, but try and make something that isn't half bad for an icon. These are also cool for like if you're laying out a book and you have like little symbols like for different sections of the book. I use that for terminus. I always think they look pretty cool. But let's say you want to do an industrial area or some kind of building. Fair enough. So you start with your block, and I'm going to duplicate it. I'm holding Shift and Option there. I'm on a Mac, so you might be doing something else, but you could also just you can also just hit Command D if you wanted. Now this is annoying. This kind of new. Sometimes happens where I like to have the outside of this area as kind of a sketch pad where I can leave little bits. So it took me a while to figure this out, believe it or not. Yeah, it's called Clip to Canvas, which is on, and I don't know why, because usually I have it off, but now that it is on, if that ever happens to you, go to View Mode, Clip to Canvas, turn off, and now we can have our little extra asset here or whatever. So back to our clone, and we'll just make it a bit smaller. Bring them together. So we just have two. And again, let's give it some kind of a roof. I'm holding Shift down so it'll constrain the drag to an angle. So if I want it just up, I'll have it like just hold Shift and move the node here. So give it a slight slant. Then this side, I'll do something similar. Select the node, move it down. So we have a rough kind of factory type shape at the moment. Maybe I'll make it slightly taller. Something like this. Again, I'm not going for a 3D shape. If I was, I could use that as a kind of area hitting the light or something, but for this simple tutorial, I'm just going to keep it as is. So this is just a flat icon. I think I'm going to bring these together. So I'm just going to go to the Boolean operation and go add, and now we have, this is just, as you can see, one shape. Right, what else could we do? I think we could. I should have had a plan really, but let's go to one of the shapes here, the shape tools. I'm going to pick this trapezoid thingy, and I'm just going to drag it out to about there, and we'll just make it a little bit well, I don't know. I'm just going to bring it out a bit because I want a slightly wider chimney, wider at the base. So there we go. I'm going to duplicate that as well. And I'm going to eyeball it. Make sure you take it down below the... So if if I just want to show you this. So it might be tempting, oops, to do something like this by eye and go, oh, well, that'll be perfectly aligned. But if you go in, you'll get these kind of jags here once you kind of put them together. That's assuming you want to put them together. But, you know, so just, I'm zooming right in here. I'm just going to bring it down by 1 so there you won't get any of those strange digital artifacts. And I'm just realizing something. I did something silly. I want to delete this one because I want to add detail, and there's no point in adding detail twice. So I'm just getting a chamfered rectangle here, aka rounded edges, and you can adjust the rounded edges as you want. I tend to like them maybe a little bit more. Lovely. Yeah, so just look at that from a distance, maybe make this a little bit bigger. And I'm going to give it some white trim like you would see on in a power station or something. So let's go and make this a different color just so you can see a bit better. I'm going to use this as my trim. I'll select the base color, which is white, so that'll give me a kind of, yeah, that looks good there. Yeah, and I'm going to then select these two. I'm gonna, just so you can see what's going on. So I select these two, and then I'm going to go to the subtract, boom. And now we just have our little detail here. Do I want smoke on our stack? Let's just, for giggles, let's put a bit of smoke on this chimney here. Right, so I'm going to, sorry, I use shortcuts all the time, and I kind of forget what I'm doing. So I'm hitting the pencil tool here. As you can see, this is selected. And I'm just going to draw something, you know, fairly basic. Just make it a bit swirly, and off it goes. And then just make it bigger. I mean, it's not meant to be realistic or anything. And I'm drawing in a weird purple color. I'm not sure why, but it will, of course, be black. Not too keen on this lump here. I want it to be parallel with this. So what I want to do is there's two ways I can do it. I can cut across using the knife tool, hold down shift. That'll give me a perfect cut. Line it up a bit. We have our kind of odd looking, not sure I like this actually, but yeah, it's kind of like ribbon like, but that's just the style for now. So there's our smokestack. I could make that a bit longer by just selecting all the nodes, or some of the nodes, and bring it out, but you kind of have to go back in then, and you may have to add another node. We'll just, oh, this is too tapered then, so maybe, yeah, that's fine for demo purposes. Now, as you can see, I've saved myself quite a bit of time, because if I want to select this, hold down shift, option and shift, and now I can select this, just bring it down, roughly about there. So now I have two chimneys, both, you know, with the cutout and the stack. Maybe put a little bit closer together. Yeah, I'm going to group them. Maybe make them a bit smaller for now. So here we have our, starting to see our post-apocalyptic building. I'm going to get another square and just give it a slight slight base. Now I'm not really happy about the alignment of these. This is too thick, and I could eyeball it, but I could also just select the two main shapes. Actually, yeah, no, select the two main shapes and then just go up to our align tool here and just go to this one, the align center, and these are now perfectly aligned. Yay. Could thicken that. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. Thing is, if you'll notice that this didn't get moved at all because I only selected this to align. I'm not really too pushed about this alignment at the moment. So what else could we do? Maybe we could start adding some extra details. Okay, there's a couple of ways. Okay, so I want this here, this part of the roof, to have a slight lip to give it some details. If I'd have planned it correctly beforehand, I would have probably not done it the way I'm about to do it. So I'm going to just cut a little bit off. Now, I just want you to, I'll change the color so you can see what I'm doing. So basically what I'm doing is I'm making sure this is aligned to our step here, otherwise it'll take a chunk out of that. So what I'm doing is I'm making another rectangle, bringing this in, holding down shift, and I can then with my arrow key kind of nudge it into place and have a look, and I can simulate what it will look like if I just select that. Yeah, okay, happy enough with that. So what I'm going to do is take our and I'm going to select our main object. It's not interacting with this step, so it doesn't matter. And if I hit the subtract boolean, we'll end up with now as if the roof is kind of slightly hanging over, and I can just do that to make these parallel. I kind of prefer it actually that way, so I've just Control Z that. So there we are. So far, not too bad, blah, blah, blah. Right, so I could probably do the same thing over on this side. So, yeah, something similar. And now I haven't said, but if you look up here, I have the snaps on, which means that it's obviously when I'm selecting, it's going to pretty much where it needs to go without me having to do much. If I didn't have the snaps on, let's take them off there. Trying to line stuff up is, as you can see, it's very hard. And you might think, oh, well, that looks okay there. But if we go in, there's gaps. There you go. There's a gap there and a gap there, even though it looks kind of pretty much perfect there. Now, again, if I was to kind of move that in like that, I'd still have a tiny gap here, which will leave like these digital artifacts. So I'm going to put on the snap back on. So now you can see I can literally whack it into that corner. Perfect. Doesn't matter how far I go in. Perfect. So, and then we'll go back up here. I want it to be obviously carve in a wee bit. So I'll just select it here. Up a bit, again, same kind of operation. Just select the two main shapes. That's the Boolean and this. And just, and there we go. So again, we have our overhang. Probably should be the same as this. This is a little too shallow, so I'm going to Control Z that. And now I'm just going to eyeball it. I'll just do, there we go. Still too shallow. Yeah, a bit shallow. Okay, I'm just going to leave it at that. And excuse me. And there we have our little lip. Probably should have one there as well. So, but okay, well, we can just, again, follow the same operation. And you say to yourself, well, you've got the snap on, but it's not snapping perfectly. Yeah, sometimes, excuse me, it can be a little bit wonky. It just doesn't snap. So I've had to kind of go in and you can see that I've had to go in and eyeball it. Why that happens, I'm not sure. It's a quirk with Affinity, and I'll just maybe make that a bit more. Nudge it in with the arrow key. And if you want to do bigger jumps, so that's just a basic tip. But so if you want, you have your shape here and you want to nudge it, you obviously you use the arrow keys. So you can see I'm using just one arrow key, up, down. Now you might say my arrow keys, it's moving very slowly. It is because this is a 5,000 by 5,000 pixels, so it's a huge, it's a pretty big canvas. So if we were using a smaller canvas, this would appear to jump more. But however, so if we select this again and you do want it to jump more, you can hold down Shift and you can see it goes in, I think 8 pixel jumps, if I remember correctly. I can't remember what I have it set to be honest offhand, but there you go, if you need bigger jumps. So if you don't need bigger jumps, just use your arrow keys. If you do, just hold down Shift. Anyway, slight tangent, apologies. So I'm going to select this, I'm going to drag it up, hold down your Shift again, and there, we'll just bring it in. It's probably a little, oh dear, not happy with this now. This looks a bit strange and I don't want to, okay, not what I wanted exactly. So I'm going to kind of eyeball this. So what I've just done is in order to get rid of this kind of nasty little triangle, I've put a patch on, and I'm kind of, it should snap actually there. I'm just going to measure the angle by eye. Oops, that'll do. So again, select the two objects and there we go. If you want to be really anal about it, you can see this is created, this patch has created this other extra node. Just get rid of it. So the mesh is nice and clean. Yeah, so I'm going to bring this in a little bit. Another tip, I probably said this before in the videos, if you want to, you've got a triangle or whatever, or it's a triangle, a rectangle, and if you want to, but let's assume, where did that come from? Anyway, let's assume that you wanted to move this rectangle. As you can see, you select the side and you get the little forward and back arrows. But if I wanted it to move at both ends at the same time, I can pick whatever end I want. I can hold down the mouse key and hold Command, and they move together. So that's a little handy tip. Anyway, back to our thingy. Right, so yeah, yeah, this is now too thin. I'm looking at it, but that's okay. Select the two nodes, hold down Shift again, bring it. Yeah, I mean, that's fine for all intents and purposes. If you wanted a more organic building, or sorry, more, not organic, but if you wanted it less sharp, like the edges are very sharp here, you could select all these and you can go to the corner tool, which is here. I just use the C for the shortcut, and you could do this, and everything is a lot rounder. Usually I do that, but for this type of thing, I'm kind of happy with it. No, actually, I'll leave it at that. Right, that's fine. Another tip, though, if you use the corner tool, you've got two choices, right? And I'm sure I've said this before. If you scale it down, you'll see what happens. I scale it down, and the corners go, what the hell? Right, they go a bit weird. So let's Control Z that. If you want to keep the corners relative, there's an option in the stroke panel here, and you say Scale with Object. Click that on, and now if we do the same thing, go all the way down. Hang on, wait a minute. Why hasn't that scaled? It's a stroke. Sorry, there isn't a stroke. Apologies. Sorry, I'm getting muddled here. So if I want this to scale with an object, I'm not sure why that hasn't worked. Okay, but no matter. Anyway, I'm not going to waste time at the moment. Anyway, so forget I said that. Simply right click and convert it to curves. Now you've baked in your curves here. So you can literally now, you can do it and you will have perfect, all the curves are relative. So, okay. So that will avoid that mistake, convert to curves, because I did a control C there. So okay, let's just add some detail in. That's easy enough to do. Let's give it some I suppose windows. Got roughly eyeball it here. Probably won't scale align perfectly, so I'm just going to do it because the shape has now changed, and I want this kind of representing here. I'm just going to put in another one, duplicate it as I did, and I'm going to turn this just so we can have a look. I'm going to, for some very simple detail, you can just do this. And what you can do is if you group this, so this little thing here is now a group, and you can group these two if you want, or make them one object. I'll just make them one object, and I'll take this and I'll select the two. So I'm selecting these two parts here, and let's go to our align tool. Yep, apply. So now they're perfectly aligned, and all I have to do is, well, I could leave these here, but I want to take, I want to remove the white here. So why would I want to remove the white? Well, if I put this on, let's say you have a background that maybe an old dusty page, color dusty page, and you put this on it, you'll get these white things here. You can see I did it here. I cut them out. So I'm going to do the same thing for this. I'm just going to take this, select the main object, get rid of it, and now you can see it's gone. I'm going to select these two and bake it in, bunk, and now these are baked in. So now we have just a little bit of detail. I can go in and move these up and down if I wanted to. But anyway, so that's that done. Let's do a small door. A door like this. Duplicate that and we'll make a maybe a couple of windows just. So I'm going to select these, make them one object, boolean them away. So now we're back to this. I'm going to attach these chimneys because it's annoying every time I move it. They just stay in the one place. So this is where we're at the moment. And then I'll make a large industrial door here. I'm not too bothered. It could be like you could have a massive robot in here or something waiting to come out. So it could be one of those kind of strange hangers. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and I'm going to do the same approach for the door. I'll just boolean that out, and I'm just going to put in another rectangle, make it a bit smaller. And of course, if you make stuff look smaller, it'll make it it'll actually kind of give the illusion that the structure itself is bigger. So yeah, so let's say we'll try this here. I think I'm just eyeballing them. So I'm going to put, maybe make some, give some kind of window details up here, small, like you might see in an actual hangar or something. So I'll just go here, and I'm going to copy, but when I do that, I'm then going to go Command J, which will give me an even increment copy. I showed that in one of my other tutorials, so I don't know if I should show it again, but maybe I should. So you can copy something as we've done, holding Option and Shift, and you drop it. But if you if you use Command J afterwards, like this, it remembers the increment you had, and it will give you the perfect even increment. Now you could go up and do that via the Align tool, but it's just a handy trick. So it's just Command J. So let's do it once more, just so whatever you duplicate it, select it for, let's say that, even if you wanted something very slim, don't, keep it selected and then just hit, and then you have, right. So I hope that's, just a little bit of practice and you'll have it, no problem. And then I'm going to just start adding kind of a slight random detail for no apparent reason really. It just adds a certain, kind of gives it a little bit, I know it's a simple icon, but at the same time, no harm in kind of punking it up a bit, adding a little bit of extra detail. I don't really know what I'm doing. I mean, I'm just giving it like those kind of that industrial door teeth type thing that kind of go into the ground. Maybe something up here as well, which could be some kind of label. Yeah, that all looks okay. Oops. Just getting some extra details in now. I'll take this, just a chamfered rectangle, do this, and I'm going to align them. You don't always have to align stuff, you can do it by eye, but if you want it to be perfect, I'm going to make this one object, and I'm going to bring it down, and I will okay, I'll make it a lot smaller. Again, remember, as I was saying, if you make stuff look smaller, it will give you that, it'll make things look like as if they're bigger. Sometimes it's kind of nice to leave some negative space. I might try that. Yeah, just a bit of maybe more. Problem is trying to align that. It's quite difficult because you can't use your Command J trick to get a few of them. So I'll just do 2 random ones, and then we'll just make some piping. And I'm just going to use like black rectangles for this with absolutely no plan. Just something that adds a bit of detail for no reason really. And maybe we could cap them with something. We'll try our friendly neighborhood trapezoid. And again, I'm bringing it down slightly. Bringing it down slightly, so oops. So you can see that it's overlapping. Just to be sure you don't get that kind of, sometimes that a slight gap in the vectors. It happens sometimes, but it's something more to be worried about with color work. That's annoying me. That's coming out too far. That as well. Yeah, okay. That's the same, is it? No, it's not. I'll try and keep them consistent just because it looks a little tidier. And then, again, just for extra detail purposes, just like little junction-y things there. And I'll do some extra mini chimneys. Yeah, here. Not trying to make them too symmetrical or anything. Yeah, and yeah, I could cap them as well. Yeah. Again, I'm doing it via eye, but the you can go in and use your the snap tool, so that'll kind of, yeah. So you kind of get that kind of effect. You could even do some random, again, just random bits, just to add. I mean, maybe that's a bit too. They're a bit too. Maybe getting a little bit too detailed. I don't know. Anyway, you could do it to taste, of course. We could do some kind of buttress-like thing at the side as well, if you wanted. Yeah, it's a bit sci-fi, that, but yeah, I think if you're going to do a buttress, you want it to be seen, so that might damage the, well, it doesn't really matter. Again, Affinity is not snapping, so I have to do it by eye. I don't know why. It's a bad flaw, that. So we've got some kind of buttress here. I think I'm going to convert to curves so I can go into the nodes. Bring it like this. Let's maybe bring it out like that. Yeah, so we're kind of getting there, really. Just add it again for no good reason, just adding a little bit of extra detail. So I just could do some, I don't know, text if you wanted. That is not the font I'm after. Where's my, yeah, well, it doesn't look great for numbers, actually. But yeah, there you have that. Let's see. Yeah, so I think we'll just, I'm going to get the knife tool and I'm going to select the main shape, and I'm just going to carve this, and I'm going to exit into, Control X, and then I'm going to Control Z as if I've never done the cut, and I'm going to paste that the bit that I cut, Control X, because it's obviously still in the memory. Flip it up here, and I'm going to drag it in again. So now we have the same lip. So let's have a look at the entire thing. There's loads of little things, or as we've got loads of little objects now. So I'm going to just snap them together. Bang. So now it's just one mesh. I think I'm going to select these two nodes here. I'm going to go to the corner tool again. And I'll just make that slightly, give it a rounding and convert to curves. Yeah, I'm not mad in that font. I'm going to get rid of it. but you know, you could put something there. I mean, obviously, it doesn't matter what you do. You could literally. No, it looks like a pool cue. Forget it. No, but maybe this might work. A couple of little lumps at the side. You could put some more windows in there, or bring them down. More windows. Yeah, something like that. I, of course, would have to Boolean these out. Damn, I didn't mean to select that. I mean, so be this. What's happened there? Oh yeah. So I've done the Boolean, but that's still part of these three objects. So I'm going to go to the control. Oops. Go select these three, and I'm just going to. I'm just going to get the corner tool. No, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do it in an easier way. I'm just going to merge them. Select the two object Boolean, and then I'm just going to take the corners here. Use the corner tool, and just to round it off a bit. So there's your kind of sci-fi type building, factory building that you could have for some kind of icon. And your little like evil robot here. I'm an evil robot. You get the idea. Yeah, so there's a wee tutorial. If there's anything you want to see tutorial-wise, I tend to do the same stuff over and over again. You can let me know. But there you go, a little factory sci-fi thing. Oh, before I go, if you wanted to, let's say distress it, you could easily, come in, get your knife tool, select it, and you could start kind of coming in, you know, and carve out certain bits. Select the cracks and whatnot. And there's multiple ways you could do these cracks. You probably actually, let's just looks a bit naff. You're probably better off doing it with the pen tool. Just select a color just so that you can see it, and you can kind of start going in, and you can take out whatever, and then you just Boolean them out. You kind of get a nicer, kind of more symmetrical crack. You could even take off lumps of the building. P for pen tool, shortcut. You could take that whole thing off because it's been damaged, and then you could kind of go in and further put in some kind of masonry cracks. I mean, I'm doing this very quickly just so, you know, to give it more of a, select these two, select that, Boolean, boom, and then we have that. Because I think the cracks and damage looks better when it's like more at an angle as opposed to the knife tool. Yeah, you can do angles, but you know, you have to set it up. You can adjust the smoothness of it, etc. And then I kind of like these kind of lightning kind of crack styles. Yeah, so you know, you could literally just go out, go for hours, and you know, but that's how one way to distress it. And then if you didn't want it distressed, you just keep hitting Control Z until all that stuff has repaired itself. So we're back to our yeah, so thanks for joining me. Let me know what you think. If you have any requests, let me know. Yes, so thanks and have a Merry Christmas.